worried about surviving today.
You learn to stay in the shadows.
Not being able to shower and people stealing from me.
When you're standing underneath the bridge or street corner with a sign, panhandling, they look at you like you're the scum of the earth.
Let you know till tomorrow you're supposed to move tomorrow, so be prepared in the morning to be ready to go, okay?
We come into an encampment, we have a pretty step-by-step process, and the goal is to close that encampment permanently to where no one else can stay there. But by the time we get to that point, we've housed everybody that wants to be housed.
I didn't even go out there and hear any of this spill or nothing. I didn't believe it.
Most people here for like well over a year, so they're doing chronicity letters.
They were relentless. They were out there all the time, you know. So, yeah, then you start believing.
I don't think anybody was really interested in anything until they started mentioning the apartment.
Doubting them was the issue. It was doubting myself. It was whether or not it was going to happen for me. You know, because of Murphy's Law, you know, it's followed me all my life.
Our homeless response system in Dallas and Collin counties looks very different than it did 2 years ago. When we realized we kind of have this once-in-a-lifetime funding that's able to come into the system, a part of that's COVID relief dollars that we were getting, it was not necessarily just a conversation like, oh great, this is the vision that we have. It was people in the community that have experience working in this community, sitting around a table. Some of the questions we asked about our response to unsheltered homelessness and encampments was, is what we're doing now working? We have this new community-wide goal to significantly reduce unsheltered homelessness within the next couple of years. Is the way we're approaching this now going to get us to that goal? And everyone around that table looked at each other, and the answer was a resounding no.
When you're struggling just to get money to eat that day, it's hard to, you know, focus on getting a job or anything like that. It's like, forget the job. I want to live through the day, you know. A lot of your time is spent just surviving when you're under the bridge.
Homeless Solutions would run us off, and we'd stay gone a couple of weeks, and then we'd come back. And off and on 3 or 4 years.
You were born in Texas, correct? Okay. I just wanted to let
You just got to stay out of the rain so you don't get rained on.
So this is just really the end of the first week. By the end of this, we will know everyone's names. We'll probably know their date of birth by heart because we're working with them so closely. We'll know where they're from. We'll know how long they've been living under this bridge.
This is for Michelle.
And by the end of it, we get to move them into an apartment with their family. If they have a family member here, they get to sign a lease and kind of start the next phase of their life in permanent housing. Casino down.
Office of Homeless Solutions, their idea of fixing things was chasing people around. Every 2 weeks they'd come in and take everything they owned and throw it away, you know? And that makes it hard when you don't have nothing to begin with.
And then when Homeless Solutions said, we're not going to come take all your stuff, we're not going to throw it away anymore, just keep the place cleaned up because y'all are going to be out of here, then we knew for sure that it was a going deal.
Generally challenging right now.
Do you have a list of who you're going to be, who's going to be seen next?
Right now,
If you look at the whole picture, it's just like there's no way. You know what I mean? There's so much stuff that I got to do. It's just like, where do I start? If it hadn't been for this, I don't know, you know, what would happen. I myself was getting down to the point where I was having suicidal thoughts.
some of the biggest barriers that our neighbors have when trying to get a place to live is, do they have a non-expired Texas ID? I mean, it's just barrier after barrier that these people have been facing for years. So our question is, how do we bring the entire homeless response system to this encampment?
They used to stamp all the pages, Hannah.
All of them? Today is one of those days where you see kind of how many people are actually involved in this. We have our partners with Parkland in their homes program. They have their mobile unit here. They are providing kind of on-site medical assessments and medical care.
But I don't have a problem with it because I don't need to figure.
As soon as they get off of this bus today, they're handed a copy of their certified medical records. That is one of the only documents we can utilize to order people's social security cards. So it kind of checks that box for us. But on top of that, in my experience, people that are experiencing unsheltered homelessness also have some very acute health stuff going on, as well as some chronic conditions. Increased physical activity, eating a healthy, balanced diet, all of that becomes a little bit easier when you get your own housing.
When I'm bad, maybe.
I'm from Illinois, so we had to send off to Illinois to get one, and it was a process. I took three different applications, sent in 3 different times before we finally got it.
A little animal, yeah.
Most of them, because they're out here on the streets or whatever, it's hard to secure this stuff. So we're here to assist them to navigate through the system because they need that support. So pretty much as the team out here, all of us are here, and as a team, we just help them navigate the system so that they can get the documents that they need to obtain housing.
Make you feel better? Okay, here's the deal. I'll make a deal with you. I'm not going to be here next Tuesday, but Alonzo is.
I was out of state working and for a couple months, and then I caught COVID, and I came home. I don't know why I was gone, what happened with my wife, but she did a complete 180. I mean, I no more than got over COVID, and then she had cops come in one day and escort me off the property. I went and stayed with a buddy of mine, Mesquite. And when I got older, I felt bad because he already had 3 different guys that he went to high school with that were all staying with him. That's what actually put me on the streets, is he couldn't afford to keep helping everybody. And it all just happened so fast that I went from having it all to having nothing.
Okay, so I just want to always applaud you guys, and I completely admire your due diligence, your effort, your stick-to-itiveness, if that's a word, to get this done, right?
Teresa, everyone else at least needs to get on for the purposes of getting their social.
Yeah, okay,
social
so we need to let them know.
Yeah.
So whatever, because of the type of vouchers we're getting, which are called permanent supportive housing, to qualify, you have to have a year of homelessness, and you got to have what you call verification of disability. So verification of disability signifies that you need assistance as far as housing, right?
So that we can work on getting your meal. A lot of people have some past trauma with seeking medical care, and so they'll seek medical care, but they might be having some mental health issues going on. They might be deemed a danger to themselves or others, and then they are forcefully admitted. So that's the big trauma. And then we also have people that have like different criminal histories, different active warrants and stuff like that. And so any type of paperwork, any type of going to get seen, it's just a bit nerve-wracking for them. I think that what we're gonna do is, maybe because we've been out here for about a month, I feel like there's a certain level of rapport that's been built. As we guide them from their tents to the bus, not just have them sitting on the bus with someone they've never met before, but sitting there with one of us that they have some kind of rapport with. I think that might help out. Okay, and it's next Tuesday afternoon. They're not going to be here in the morning anymore.
I had heroin addiction as well, so I had to get meds for that, to get me through the withdrawals, and then I went ahead and saw we did a dual diagnosis at the same time, and went ahead and addressed the mental health issues as well, the depression. I'm still an addict, but I'm a recovering addict, I guess now, for the most part, it's been more good days than bad lately. It's not like it was under the bridge. It was pretty much all bad days. Baby, no.
One of the things that I've heard from our neighbors at this site is, I've had housing before. How is this going to be any different? And I think assuring them, not only will you move in and you'll have support, you'll have a housing case manager. The North Texas Behavioral Health Authority team is going to follow people into housing to give them additional peer support.
It's ways to make a cool picture if you don't know. We got action.
I think as a system, we've also just gotten a lot better at this work. The product that we're able to deliver is a lot better. It's more human-centered. It's trauma-informed. Y'all don't need anything? All right. You need some water? Okay, I'll see if we have it. And then I think the clear, constant communication that we can provide them on what to expect also helps kind of the shock value of what moving into a unit might be a little bit more variable, and they might feel a little bit more supported throughout that. Look at your legs. This looks like a scene out of the Wizard of Oz.
At first he was on board about, hey, I want to get housing. He was a little skeptical about the process of getting on the Parkland van to start his documentation. And at one time he told us that his daughter was going to bring his documentation. It never panned out, right? He did do the program enrollment, right? But now he's saying that he wants to go ahead and go home.
We got a big old goose egg today. We're over 3 today.
So 35 to nothing, huh?
Yeah. 35 to nothing.
35 to nothing.
Documents. Next step of the process is really getting them referred to a housing program. There's some logistical stuff on our end of why that hasn't happened and why that can't happen quite yet. But thank you all for coming out. I'm glad all 5 of them are getting connected to some peer support.
Someone here to talk to you, just see if you're interested. Do you remember me talking to you a little bit about the peer support?
But the reality of it is recovery is about being able to live a more self-directed life of health and wellness. And there's not one single way to do that.
Pillowcase full of clothes, and she said I could go through it and see what.
Consistent lesson that we have learned time and time again is that people that have experienced homelessness, people that have experienced unsheltered homelessness, need community support around them. They need highly trained, effective case managers for when they move into housing, and we have those within our system now.
Good news for you, though.
What is that?
You got approved for the ambassador.
Shut the front door!
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Boom! That is good, Wayne. I'm so happy, dude. I mean, I'm like, let's go. Right now. Let's go. Can we go to it? Yeah, I'm ready to go right now. You're not going to get me to cry. I'm not going to cry.
But what we do is we bring what's called a welcome kit, and it has everything from like pots and pans to silverware, towels, blankets, and then we'll at least give you, in case your furniture hasn't come in yet, we'll give you an air mattress to tide you over the week until your furniture gets delivered. See you later.
I don't know the details, but some of the apartments have begun to back out of holding units for us. That could have been one of them. Maybe that's why she was approved, but then we haven't heard anything.
There's a bunch of clothes and some shoes and a blanket.
Oh, thank you. We can just put this stuff behind us, man, and just start moving on, you know.
You just gotta stay where you're at until stay in position.
Okay.
How have you been doing? Okay.
I still don't know why he would go to the extent to steal her, but I mean, you get a chance to get it back for it was due, you know. I mean, when Fort Worth is much smaller than Dallas. At that point, I was going through a lot of depression, and baby was the highlight of my day a lot of times, you know. And so, yeah, I mean, I wasn't going in, I was at my dog. Obviously, I've been missing baby, you know, so it's good for me, I mean, let me take care of it, kid.
So there's something going on with your birth certificate, which is keeping us from getting your ID, right?
Yeah, it's like the 3rd time we've sent out for it, kid.
Right.
All 3 of you gentlemen have been approved for y'all apartments. We are waiting on you guys' inspections. So after we get the inspections done and completed, be prepared to move in. You take 2 bags with you, take your 2 most important bags, and take your dogs.
This thing's weird telling everybody, hey, I may show up tomorrow and say pack up your stuff. Because at this point I get no information until it's like, hey, they're moving in, 10 o'clock tomorrow.
You start to wonder what's going on.
Right, right.
Yeah, it's getting bad down here, man.
Oh yeah, getting worse.
Yeah,
Moving day was, I'm down here, dude. I'm out here. Don't nobody talk to me because I can't talk to you right now. I'm too busy packing and get my stuff in this van so I can get out here. That was an exciting day for me. She's going with me.
I guess start to finish, from the time they come in and did the list till we actually got moved, it wound up being about 4 months.
Oh, see, he looks like a homeless dog now, but next time you see him, he won't. He'll be a pretty dog.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Thank you, you too.
All the way back to the move.
We're waiting right now on them to get keys matched to units. I want you to walk the units and make sure you're comfortable with it before we sign a lease today.
Now that I'm here.
Well, I love your shiny shirt. I think.
Oh my God, this is beautiful.
I was so tired of that being out there that now that I'm not, and I've got something and I have something to eat and I got a place I can lay my head and I don't have to worry about nobody crawling in the tent and raping me. I'm just enjoying every minute of it.
For me to have a relationship with my son and my grandchildren would be excelente. Yeah, but when I was homeless, they didn't even know I was homeless. Just so I didn't see my grandchildren because you can't. Let's go to Grandma's house under the bridge in the tent.
Where's
Yeah, I've got a little something, I have a little more sense of worth, you know what I mean, a little more self-esteem where I feel a lot better about myself, you know. That's really nice. How will you be here?
It's great, but we still sleep for like really weird hours. Because out there you kind of, one of y'all needs to stay awake at night to make sure people aren't coming to steal you or set your tent on fire or whatever. Oh, hey, that's just Robbie. Bobby, you're right upstairs?
These are some strong people. They are resilient, but it's also heartbreaking to think that, you know, every night they're concerned, you know, is this a night that somebody's going to come by and hurt me? I don't think that they were ever able to just let down their guard. It's just a constant survival mode.
My first marriage was really, really bad. And matter of fact, it destroyed most of my life. And more spaghetti? About a year into our marriage, everything was hunky-dory, like my dad said. You know, honeymoon was great. But then after that, it all went to... That's when all the beating up and stuff and abuse became really bad. 3 kids later, I got brave and I left him and went to my mom's.
You have to let me know before you get a pig.
It's going to be a kitten. I really do miss is just the friendships there of when I did need somebody to talk to.
It's been a long journey, huh? Mm-hmm. You are responsible for all of it.
You know, you have fears and worries and concerns and anxiety. That doesn't end when you know, it becomes a new set of things when you're housed, is because first off, you're now away from everybody that you knew. So that little bit of support system is gone because now it's a closed door. It's a, you know, locked door, it's closed windows, it may feel even closed in.
Well, they're like...
I think these do.
4 walls and an air mattress, all right. And, you know, like, well, you know, I got a roof over my head, though, you know. Thank you, Jesus, you know. I told her to clean, and that's what you got me, but... So many things you take for granted, I guess, when you do live the regular life, you know what I mean? you don't really realize until you get down to where you don't have those things, and you realize how many things you do have to be grateful for.
The main reason why I end up homeless is because no matter what I tried to do, no matter how I tried to do it, it just wouldn't come together. A lot of times I went out here and used drugs to try to destroy myself and what was left of me because of guilt and a lot of other issues. You know, maybe it's a good thing that I'm bored. Maybe it's a good thing that I'm not around them. Maybe this is, you know, God's way of saying, be still, you know, and let me show you something different. And put that over here.
A lot of our clients end up feeling totally unseen. So I think they do become very jaded, is that they need a lot more than just a handout. They need a lot more than $5, you know, on the corner. But that's a lot easier to hand out than a long-term solution, long-term help. And so I think that's what's the difference in what happens with the case management, is that all of a sudden it's somebody who's not disappearing.
I love macaroni and cheese and all kinds of new. But Amy is great. I love death out of it because Amy does not pester me, and she'll tell you all your options up front, you know, and whether you do them or not, that's up to you.
When we got together, we had a home and all that stuff, but you know, you can't make mortgage payments when there's just one salary. So first we lost the house and gave up the 2 cars. We were living in the car with the dog. That was okay until the car got impounded and we couldn't get it out of the pound, and then that's how we ended up under the bridge.
So for all the folks who are able to house, you know, the fact that there's such a discrepancy in affordable housing and what we have and what we need, that there's still this constant revolving door of, you have people who, you know, especially families who aren't able to afford their apartments anymore and there's nowhere else for them to go. There's not a second option. I would love us first to have turnover so that we can continue to get those folks off the street who are truly living in places that are not meant for habitation. That the more, you know, the word gets out there that this isn't just a pipe dream. This isn't just a something that's being gossip on the corner, that there is ways to get off the street and the ways to get your own place. So that would be my hope, is that this is something that we're able to continue to make those homeless numbers drop.
They were all here. All the new move-ins were here, and for the most part, they were pretty good about it. You know, because I mean, we've been coming every day telling them they're gonna have to go. So we're really kind of focusing on those that might still be here. You know, I constantly reminded myself, it's like that we provide the services that we're willing to go above and beyond whatever they need to actually accomplish the goal of being housed. But inevitably, they're their own person. They have to make their own choices. That's the only thing that's really, I feel like, making a long-term difference. And I can tell you, one site was 106 people, so that's a lot of people that are no longer in this situation.
Trying to live a little bit better and a little bit more each day, you know, and trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, you like that one, don't you? Now I'm starting to get to where I'm looking forward a little bit to where I'm starting to think about maybe having a life again, you know.
Since we moved here, especially working with Melissa, I'm not so shy around people. Well, I've never played bingo in my life. I guess I want to try those old people sports, bingo and stuff like that.